Hi everyone, Flavia here and welcome to my Crafty Advent Calendar series for 2025. In this video, we will be opening door number 3 of Spellbinder's Crafty Advent Calendar, and in case you have missed any of the previous 2 videos, I will make sure to link them in the description box down below so you can check it out later. So on day number 1, we opened this box up here. Then yesterday we did open this second box, and right over here we have door number 3. I will be using a craft knife to help me open each one of these doors so I can keep these beautiful designs intact. Okay, and as usual, right behind the door we have a sneak peek of the content inside, which seems to be a small and very cute die set. So let's take a look. Yep, it is a die set. So I'm gonna set this calendar aside so we can take a look at the pieces that we have. So with today's surprise, we have a small die set with 6 metal plates included that we can use to cut out pieces to make a very cute bunny inside a hat. And we also get this very small plate to cut out 3 little stars at once that we can use to decorate our projects. So this is the die set that we will be using today to create a note card. So to save us some time off screen, I cut out all of the needed pieces, and I did cut some of these pieces twice so I can stack them up for dimension. However, this is definitely optional and you don't have to do that if you don't want the extra dimension. For the hat, I'm gonna glue these 2 pieces together for dimension. To cut out these pieces, I used the Spellbinder's brushed black cardstock, which is a very shimmery black cardstock. So we need this large piece for the hat, and then right here where the metal plate left these impressions on the paper is where we need to glue the white die cut piece, which is this one. Okay, so this is the hat. And then for the wand, I did cut out these 2 black pieces twice to make them sturdier, and I just gonna stack them up, and then I'm gonna add these white details onto each side of the die cut piece. And last but not least, we're gonna assemble the bunny. For the bunny, we need this large cutout, and I cut it twice so I can stack them up. And then we need to cut out these 2 long pieces for the ears, and I'm using a wax pencil to help me pick up these small die cuts, which makes the process even more enjoyable. So once we glue the pieces for the ears, we can go ahead and add this square cutout in the back, which is supposed to show through the cutout for the nose and the eyes. However, since I want to make the eyes black, what I am going to do is actually make some markings around the eyes with a pencil like this, so I know where I need to apply Nuvo, which is my favorite way of creating eyes for critters like this. So now I'm just gonna apply black Nuvo drops over the markings that I made for the eyes, and it doesn't need to be perfect because this is gonna be hidden behind the white die cut. So once I have that, I'm gonna go ahead and actually glue this second die cut without the pink accents over this pink square, making sure to line up the cutout for the eyes with the black Nuvo drops. And then on top, I'm gonna add this second layer. So this is how I create perfectly round and glossy black dots for the eyes. Now I'm gonna set this aside to dry. And by the way, I did cut out many stars using this plate included in the set that I might use later to decorate the note card. So regarding the card design, I'm not really sure what I really want to do, but I do know that I want to use this plate, this hot foil plate. So I'm gonna create a foiled background for the front of my note card using this large plate that will add hearts, stars, and some dots patterns to the note card. And this plate was included in the Spellbinder's Magic Wonders hot foil set, released as a subscription club for I'm not sure, maybe October or November 2025. So I'm gonna begin by hot foiling this white panel, and I might even add color to this white panel later. To hot foil this panel, I'm gonna cut out a large piece of Spellbinder's polished brass foil, and to make sure nothing shifts during the hot foiling process, I am going to tape this plate to the cardstock using the Spellbinder's Best Ever Craft tape, because I know this will not damage the cardstock at all once I am ready to peel it off. When you are creating your sandwich, make sure that the hot foil plate is touching the nicer side of the foil, which is the golden one, and the not so nice side of the foil, which is this silver one, needs to be touching or facing the cardstock. Now I'm gonna trim off the excess. To hot foil my panel, I'm gonna be using my gleaming machine, and since this light is on, it means that the platform is hot enough and I can go ahead and add my sandwich on top, making sure that the hot foil plate is actually touching the hot platform. And then on top of that, I'm gonna add these two plates for a little bit of pressure and turn on the timer. Okay, so after a minute or so, I'm gonna remove this entire platform from my gleaming machine and run it through my Spellbinder's Platinum machine to apply pressure. And that is how the foil will be transferred to the cardstock. Once that is all done, we can go ahead and remove the foil to reveal the gorgeous result. So this is what I am going to use for the front of my note card. And then after hot foiling, I used the largest plate included in this die set by Spellbinders. This is the Scallop Labels and Tag die set, and I am actually going to add this fun-shaped panel to the front of my note card. Actually, my note card is gonna have this same fun-shaped cutout, and to do that, I am simply gonna grab a A7 size card base. So this card base is 5 inches wide by 7 inches tall, and to cut this into a fun-shaped, I'm gonna tape this metal plate to my note card, folded closed, and I am going to tape everything in place so it doesn't shift at all. And the trick here is to offset this die plate a little bit on the folded side of the note card. If I flip here, we can see that this side of the die plate is hanging off, which means it's not gonna cut this side at all. And since I need to cut out through 2 layers of cardstock at once, I am actually going to use my electric die cutting machine, and I am going to run this through my die cutting machine twice, just to make sure I do cut to the 2 layers of cardstock. And once we do all that, here is the final result, 2 connected pieces that we can now use as a card base. So the next step is to glue this panel to the front of my note card. However, since the bunny is also white, I think I need to add color to this front panel to make this die cut stand out. So now, to add color to this white panel, I'm gonna be using these 2 ink colors by Simon Says Stamp, and I'm gonna begin by applying the lighter blue ink to the center of this foiled panel. And once that is done, I am actually gonna go around the edges with the darker blue color. And I'm gonna go again with the lighter color in the center. So when ink blending over foiled panels, we have to always remember to wipe off the excess of ink that is sitting over the foiled sign with a clean cloth, just to bring the foiled pattern's shine back to life. And here is a closer look at the final result. Now we can go ahead and glue this panel to the front of the fun-shaped note card. And to do so, I'm gonna place my card base on the corner of my scoring board, just to help me quickly line up these 2 different pieces as I glue them together using strong liquid adhesive. To make this note card feel heavier and stronger, I am actually gonna add 2 white panels that I cut out using the second largest plate included in this die set. And then we can add the die cut pieces to the front of the note card. I am going to begin by gluing this bunny to the hat. Notice here that the die plate left a line impression on the cardstock, and that is to indicate where we need to apply glue. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do that and line up that impression with the hat. So this is the die cut piece that I'm gonna add to the front of my note card along with this one. And now we need a sentiment. For the sentiment, I actually went over my ready to go foiled sentiments, and I happened to find this one, which I think is just perfect for this theme, which is this one that reads Magical Wishes for You. So I have it in golden and blue. I'm not sure which one I should use. I think I'm gonna go with the golden one. By the way, to foil this sentiment and cut it, I actually used an old set by Spellbinders, which was released as the Glimmer of the Month for March 2024. So with this set, we have this background plate and this plate that we can use to hot foil 4 different options. And we also have the coordinating die plate, which is what I used to create this sentiment. So to make the sentiment stand out, again, I'm gonna stack up a few die cut layers, and I'm gonna use liquid glue to adhere the foiled sentiment and this wand to the front of my note card. However, for the bunny in the hat, I am actually going to use foam adhesive for some added dimension. So behind the black die cut piece, I am actually going to add black foam adhesive by Spellbinders, so it better blends in with the black cardstock and it is not visible at all, even if you look on the sides. And since the black Nouveau drops that I used for the eyes is not completely dry, I'm trying to be extra careful so it doesn't smudge. So once I have added the black foam, I'm gonna go ahead and add Spellbinders white foam squares behind the bunny, the white bunny, and I'm gonna add these smaller size foam squares behind the ears. So because I want to turn this note card into a birthday note card, I am actually going to stamp the sentiment Happy Birthday onto the flap of this blue envelope. And to do so, I am actually using this stamp set. This is by Stampendas, the Birthday Messages stamp set. So I'm gonna begin by stamping Happy Birthday onto the flap of the envelope. And I have placed my envelope inside my Misty stamping tool, so I can stamp in the exact same spot as many times as needed. So here is the completed note card that I created using the die set included in the Spellbinders Crafty Advent Calendar, door number 3. So inside the note card, I stamped a sentiment that reads "Wishing you a day that is special in every way," using that stamp set by Stampendas, which is the same set that I used to stamp the sentiment Happy Birthday onto the flap of this blue envelope. And I also added those die cut stars. I cut it from Spellbinders Mural Gold cardstock using the die plate included in the die set behind the surprise for door number 3. And here is a closer look at the front of the note card. So this is all that I have for today, and I thank you for joining me. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the review of the surprise behind door number 4. As always, thank you so much for spending this time with me. Take care, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.